Welcome to Arkdesign.ai. Here's a glimpse from our AI, Tech and Architecture Symposium. We're in conversation with Chief Information Officer of CBT Architects, Nirva Fereshetian, where she discusses the development of AI tools and their advancements.
My name is Nirva Fereshetian. I'm the Chief Information Officer at CBT Architects. I have a combined degrees in architecture and computer science, and kind of enjoy implementing AEC technologies in a kind creative environments. That's all I've worked in my career. So there have been multiple transformations, but this one is very unique. So I think the industry is challenged, but equally so, it's great times to be in the industry, and especially to be a technologist in the industry. There's so much promise and so much change, and hopefully, like I mentioned a little while ago, collectively we can move forward.
How has AI improved your ability to deliver projects that meet performance goals?
I think as previous presentation, the word is a really thrown around, so to speak, with a lot of connotations, so sometimes companies that we used to work with before ChatGPT that did automation and whatever, now suddenly they are AI companies. So I think it's the word, and a lot of it means a lot of different things to people. I mean, the professor tried to explain to us all of the parts and components. And I think in the AEC industry, typically, the first and the foremost thing that happened for a year is the image generation part of AI, which seems to be the most enticing part in the design world. So I saw like a year and a half ago, a lot of surveys where, would ask for architecture companies, are you using AI? And if they had used Midjourney, they checked off the box that they used AI. So I think the gap is really, really big in terms of what it is that we're using. And from our perspective, different workflows need different processes to implement these things. This is not just a tool that is coming, like unlike prior changes where Shay explained, moving from CAD or even pencil or whatever, drafting to CAD, and then from CAD to BIM, things were kind of compartmentalized in our industry. So now there is not just an industry change, there's a lifestyle change. So every single person knows about this. And I always bring up that example that I don't know, family never knew what I was doing. So if you're an architect, they don't really know what you're doing anyways. But then when you're a technologist in the field, they definitely don't know what you're doing. But now they all ask me like, oh, do you use AI? Because I think that is so much part of our ecosystem. You can't turn on news, or you can't just read something that doesn't have that word in it. So it's not a change in our industry, it's a change in the way we live. And we are all touching it one way or another on our phones or whatever without even knowing, whether you're listening to Spotify or the maps or whatever, it's all embedded in it. And whether you like it or not, it's, we are all using it. And I think in majority of our efforts is really not only exploring, but educating the entire firm. I'd like to put something in the hands of everyone so that we collectively can decide our use cases. It was also mentioned in the previous one that this is not a one size fit all, and or this is not like, should we use Revit or should we use ArchiCAD? This is I know there are all kinds of databases on the internet about how many AI tools. Niknes certainly has an entire database on her site, and others have it. There's thousands of them. So, and a lot of them do similar things or overlap. So I think one of the objectives I have is that to make sure that everyone has touched it, because we collectively in our firm and then in the bigger ecosystem need to decide what is it that we want to use it for, what problem it's solving, where's the effective usage, not just only the typologies we all do differently, but processes that we all do differently. Also, it very much depends what the tool is for. Like in the front end, where it's exploration of image generation or idea generation, it's more of a one-to-one relationship. Like a designer can pick up one of the many tools and try to use it and kind of say, hey, I like that one or the other one. But I think as we move into more data driven solutions, where we're, for example, embellishing our detail library and working with a company that built AI in there, it's really about your data sets. And it is really making us think through the way we do things, and is our data sets valid to do something? So is the code, for example, yes, we're using a bunch of tools that do code, and a lot of it is about educating our younger staff to learn without actually using the time of the senior staff. So we could look at this in many ways and kind of say, what is the improved performance? Certainly education and learning is one of the improved performances. And in some instances, as it's usually very difficult to put an ROI on our any of our efforts, because measuring projects are never similar, and we're do unique things in each. So it's a challenge to say where actually the performance pickups are, but it's in progress.
As AI continues to evolve, where do you see it having the greatest impact?
An impact, it depends on what we want to have the impact on. All of these things that you mentioned, creative design and practical concerns, in every single aspect of it, there is an impact. It's mostly left up to us as to where our focus should be. There's typically on a design end a lot of focus up front, like for idea generation, but there's real outcomes in using for code compliances, or using for calculating, we do shadow studies, acoustic analysis, and as well as performance of buildings. So all of the carbon footprint and all of those things are really essential tools that are now embedded in our design processes. And I don't know if it's change, especially, humans changing behavior is something humans are not very good at to start with, but specifically in inducing technology change. And I think the volume is just so immense coming through for everybody that I don't think there is resistance in a intentional resistance, but it's kind of competing with our delivery process, with our tight deadlines, with our learning, professional learning. Sometimes I worry that we teach too much about the tool and kind of infringe on the profession, where our staff is trying to learn, how to design and put together a building, or the different processes that are required for our knowledge. So unlike, we were going to teach you from CAD to Revit, there's like a 1,000 things moving to learn on every aspect of it. And these tools are not, some of them are not ready for prime time, so the expectations are high in the beginning, and kind of the adrenaline pumps up. Oh, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. And then at some point they realize that they still have to do a lot of the things that they were doing, and in addition try to test and practice these things. And therefore it's not that there is resistance, but there's this doubt all the time. Is it there yet, or should we invest? What kind of time should we invest? We as a firm are a big proponent of helping to promote and the development of these tools, because they're not there yet. And if every firm can contribute, for some of the developers out there, because we're lucky that things are moving fast, and unlike some previous tools where it never moved, just got a couple of features a year, now things are moving very fast. But at the same time, as an AEC ecosystem, all of us owe it to these really founders and thinkers of solving these AEC problem to give our contribution. And that we usually commit for at least a dozen firms or something a year to, in all these aspects, to test, but also to give feedback. And so I usually arrange a combination of, pick our experts in that specific workflow and meet with them at a certain trial period to kind of contribute. And behind the scenes, some of these web applications or whatever change from week to week. So we try to keep some type of documentation, and like in a week or two, it's changed. It looks different. So those are real challenges, and learning challenges, and also time challenges. At some point, we are aiming to, yes, for that overall vision that AI is going to do some of the mundane things. And I like that description very much that was mentioned before. I think it's a woman writer, who said that, can AI do my laundry and my do my dishes and leave the writing to me? So yes, we would like to get there. Can AI do all the mundane things that we typically don't want to do, or are forced to spend 75% of our time, so that we can design and think better and solve problems? But in order to train AI to do these mundane things, it's also going to take an effort. It's very similar to explaining junior staff something to do that keeps re-explaining until they get it right. So it is going to take some time to make that happen.
Are your teams building custom AI tools or adapting existing ones?
I'm not sure custom build. I think depends on the size of the company you are, and what are you trying to do, and what is the missing piece that you haven't found out there that you're custom building. So I think there might be a real valid project or an outcome to do so, but the majority of the effort currently I would like to focus on is, and some of that actually can come with the AI agents. I don't know what the definition of custom means, and certainly developing an app from beginning to end is a bit challenging, and because you have to maintain and support that as well over the life of the hopefully usage. But I think I see a lot of capability for AI agents in all of those things, so that people simply with some even voice interaction, to actually create small packages and small agents to do things and automate things. I see that as a must. But that's not necessarily custom applications, but those are real great big undertakings. I know we have computational designers on staff, but the custom development of an application to me means a little bigger than that. So one of the things I think, instead of focusing on the tool, I think I'd like to have the company focus on the value proposition of what we're delivering. I think if all of these things are going to be automated, and in a perfect world, we're going to push these buttons that are going to generate automatic stuff, and somebody's going to check it, and then, but what is the differentiator between us and other firms? And it's a really good exercise to think through those things. So as to what we bring as a design firm to the table, beyond these tool or process approaches. And one of the biggest things for me is because AI doesn't work without data, is to fix our data sets. And one of the projects, and I know there was some question if we unearth our previous projects, and there was any kind of learning or any models we can put in to benefit from next project. And some of our data sets, unfortunately, are not valid, even if we get to that point and someone has to sort through and figure it out. But we're attacking our detail library, for example, or whatever. And there is a lot to learn and think through about process changes and modeling changes and naming changes and how we standardize things in order for that machine learning to happen. So I would rather focus on those types of things. That's why I think educating the entire firm rather than just elite group of people who are doing these things is very important, because those conversations have to happen so we all are on the same page and we're all trying to improve a process or solve a problem.